Hello, my name is Jillian Beach, and this is my digital resources analysis presentation for RDG 510. I'm going to be covering 5 different digital resources that I use in my kindergarten classroom. Most of these cover different reading applications or assessment tools that we use. One does include a bit of math. First, I'll be talking about Raz-Kids. Second, Lexia Core 5. Third, iReady, which is one of our diagnostic tools. 4, Wonders Connect Ed, which is connected to our curriculum. And lastly, Literably, which is one of our reading level assessment tools. First off, Raz-Kids is one of the most popular apps that we use in the classroom among kindergarten and primary, K through 2 at my school. A little bit about Raz-Kids. It's an online reading resource that offers a digital library of leveled books ranging across 29 levels. Students are able to access this app through a computer or mobile device. We use the iPad to access it in our classroom. This interactive reading resource allows students to listen to the story, read it at their own pace, and answer comprehension questions through an e-quiz at the end for each book. Students earn stars based on each portion that they complete. So listening to it gives them a certain amount of stars, reading another set of stars, and answering comprehension questions. Those stars can then be used to build an avatar, which is very exciting and motivating for kindergartners. They offer a digital library of nonfiction and fiction books through Raz-Kids. Some of the pros are that it is engaging and motivating, especially with the added point or star piece to it to create their own avatar. The login is easy, which I'll show you on the next page. They offer over 800 leveled ebooks. And what I always tell parents is you have a library in your lap or at your fingertips. We are not able to have those kind of resources in our homes on our shelves, and going to the library takes extra effort and time and additional resources. So this Raz-Kids offers the over 800 level books, which are both a mixture of nonfiction and fiction, which I think is one of the greatest perks. Another one is that there are corresponding quizzes to assess the comprehension, which is very similar to the format of our end of the year reading test that students take on Literably in kindergarten. Students take reading tests throughout the year in the other grades. However, we don't do them until trimester 3 in kindergarten. And collectively, as teachers, we feel like having an app similar to Literably allows the students to become familiar with the format, to swipe, to turn pages, to press a button, to go back into the text, to answer comprehension questions. Whereas prior to having Raz-Kids as a tool, we felt that the end of the year reading test was not assessing reading levels, but was more so assessing how students navigated on an iPad. So this is a great tool that not only teaches reading skills, but also the format for reading and answering comprehension questions through a digital resource. There are ELL translations throughout the stories in Spanish, teacher reports that the teacher can access, and already generated and pre-populated parent letters and student login cards, which I'll also show you an example of, that make it so easy to create the connection between home and school. Some of the cons are that students can scroll and change their own levels without actually achieving the next level. So typically students advance to the next reading level. It's in alphabetical order after 10 books. However, if they are savvy enough, they can go to the top of the app and look at the levels and just select a different level. The stars, which are the points that students receive, are reset when teachers adjust levels. So if I were to go in and I noticed Charlie was reading a level B, but he's tested and is reading a level D, and I wanted to change him to a level D in Raz-Kids, it would reset his stars and he would be back down to 0. This is also not a free resource. This resource costs $99.95 for a 1-year subscription that covers 36 students. So it is one of the most affordable apps And we look at it as it covers basically one class for $100. So it's $100 per class for the school year. Here are the pre-generated or pre-populated resources that teachers can use to send home. So here on the left is a login card. So this would be what I would send home for my student Alex. He would know when he looks at the class roster, he is looking for a red circle with a triangle in the middle, and the password is read. We have the word read posted in several parts of our classroom on a flashcard so that students can easily type in read before they access the app. So the login and log out is very efficient, and the routine is easily accomplished for 5-year-olds. To the right here, this is the letter for Alex's parent or guardian. It gives them clear steps of how to download the app, how to log in using the teacher name, and how to find his own login ID, which would be right here on the class roster. So as I showed you here, this is what he's looking for. And when he opens the app up on his iPad, here is our class roster, our class icon. Here is his name. Once he selects this, he will type in the word read, and it will bring him to this screen here. I always tell my students to go straight to the reading room, and the reading room looks like this. So here is the rainbow bar I was telling you about in the beginning that is one of the cons, I believe, with this app. I'm under leveled books, and all Alex would need to do is click whatever letter or color he's drawn to. These are the kindergarten levels, and he could change his reading level. So if it's the beginning of the year and I'm starting him on a double A, this is where I want him. I don't want him to have the freedom to click on any of these other leveled books. So I believe that is one of the cons, or the biggest con, of this app. Double A level is shown right here. Here's an example, The Garden, and you'll notice the difference between this book and this book over here, which is just a level single A, is that the double A option only allows him to listen to the story and read the story. Listening is 10 stars, reading is 50. Once a student passes double A and they go on to single A and above, you will notice the quiz option. So they listen to the story, read the story, and then they will have 5 comprehension questions at the end to answer and pass to get an additional 150 stars. So this is the difference, and this is the piece of the app that I feel is the most beneficial in preparing our kindergartners for their end of the year reading assessment. The next app I want to talk to you about, or digital resource, is Lexia Core 5, and I feel like this is the most valuable tool for early readers as it teaches them the foundational reading skills they need. It's an online reading program for students in preschool through grade 5. And it's a phonics-based app that is proven to aid in reading success. There are constant assessments throughout the app with direct activities that allow students to move through levels designed specifically to their learning needs. The program is intended to be completed independently by the child. We always encourage children to work on this without siblings, without parents. Of course, they can help them log on and off of the app, but we do not want the progress and the success of each activity to be flawed because they received help. So it will gather inaccurate information if they do receive help, and it will either move them too quickly through the app or make it too difficult to pass. So some of the pros are that it is a phonics-based research proven tool for reading. It has targeted level instruction. It begins with an auto placement, so students will take an assessment at the beginning to place them where their current levels are. Mylexia.com is the tool for teachers that offers skill builders, certificates, and teacher-led instructional resources, which I'll show you on the next page. Another tool that I liked is that while my students are using the app in class, a red apple will appear at the bottom of the screen if a student is struggling. And it also offers additional offline enrichment activities for students who are succeeding. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, I have on each app, I have included the hyperlink. So if you click on the app in the right-hand corner here, it brings you to the hyperlink to view the page of the actual digital resource I'm describing. Okay. Moving on, some of the cons for Lexia are that it is has a teacher-led instruction resource that is really lengthy. It's probably detailed enough for a brand new guest teacher or a student helper. And a lot of the resources include, for example, a whole page of letters from the alphabet that require students to cut and group the letters together. For example, if it's a sight word skill builder and they're practicing the word you, they want the students to cut out all the letters of the alphabet, find the letters Y-O-U, and put them together to create the sight word. They take a lot of time. These resources could be pre-planned and prepped and saved for small group instruction. However, I don't think it's necessary to have so much prep or activities throughout in order to successfully meet the goals of each lesson. It is expensive. Lexia Core 5 is another app that's purchased by our PTA through a grant at our school. Normally it's $175 a student, $110 for each student after that. For a 12-month subscription, they do have different offers for schools, and typically there is a licensing cap. So if all grades at our school, preschool through grade 5, were to use it, we would not have enough licenses to have everyone logged in. Fortunately, this is pretty targeted to primary K through 2 and struggling readers beyond that. So not every single student is logging in and engaging on this app. Another con is that it cannot be accessed on a phone or Kindle Fire. It's for computer or iPad only, which is how my students access it in kindergarten. Really quickly, here is a breakdown of the levels. So just speaking for kindergarten, level 1 is pre-K, 2 is beginning of kindergarten, level 3 is mid, 4 is end of kindergarten, mid to end, and level 5 is end of kindergarten. So any of my students that are going on to level 6, 7, 8, or 9, I know that they're working on grade 1 skills and so forth. As the teacher, when you log into mylexia.com, here's a few of the things that you'll see. So for example, 6 of my students needed instruction at this time. I can group them. So these 3 students need help on beginning sounds. So I can do a small group lesson to prepare them with beginning sound knowledge to help them pass the level they're stuck on. This group needs segmenting syllables. Another one, I can do a small group, give them a short mini lesson on segmenting syllables, send them off to work on that particular skill. Down here, you'll see the 2 skill builders. So these are students who are receiving enrichment. So Maddie passed level 6, so she is ready for some enrichment. Same with Ava, which I will show an example on the next page of both the instructional needs and skill builders. And then here's an example of the certificate. So for example, right now, mylexia.com shows that I have 1 certificate ready to print. These are automatically sent as soon as a child passes a level. So Maddie passed level 6. She's a Lexia superstar, and it shows her parents here what she has accomplished in level 6 and what they can do at home to help her further grow in her reading success. Here's an example, just a quick snapshot of the needs instruction. So this is just one page of how guided and broken down the lesson is to help the child struggling in a specific area. And then to the right here, this is a skill builder. So this is extra enrichment or activities for consonant digraphs, which you see here. All right. Our third digital resource is iReady. iReady is an online diagnostic learning tool used for both reading and math. That's one thing I do enjoy, is that this one covers both topics, whereas many of our resources include just reading in kindergarten. It allows teachers to determine students' needs and help personalize and monitor progress throughout the school year. The iReady diagnostic provides questions based on students' personalized needs. As students get a series of correct answers, the questions become increasingly harder, and a series of incorrect answers will create slightly easier questions. So this is a diagnostic tool that will pinpoint any math and reading skills at that level for that student. So it's very differentiated. After each diagnostic testing, students at my school take 2 a year, one in the beginning of the year and then one in the spring. And then it helps create a path to success. So there are enrichment tools and interventions depending on the student's needs. This is not a grading tool. It's not meant to be used for grades. It's just another insight into how to meet the needs of your student. The diagnostic progress shows students who may have rushed. I will show you what that looks like in the teacher portal. So if I know a student has rushed through their diagnostic, it will flag them. This is a district required app, so the schools do not pay for it. However, we are required to meet a set amount of minutes each week for students to log in and complete lessons. Some of the cons are that the diagnostic reports that are sent home are not a clear reflection of students' current reading and math levels in the classroom. So we find it crucial to communicate with parents that their diagnostic report is not included in their report card grades. This is just another lens for us to look through as far as how their child is performing independently and where there is room for additional instruction or enrichment. The diagnostic results have created a lot of confusion for parents. For example, if their child is proficient in reading and foundational skills, comprehension, literacy, and whatnot, however, they are showing early kindergarten levels through iReady, it has created confusion as to how and why. But we just remind parents that this is just one small tool that we use to get the big picture of a student's mastery of skills. This is not the full picture. Again, by clicking on this link or this icon, you'll receive a hyperlink to go to the webpage. Okay, real quick, this is what it looks like in the teacher app as far as how many students have completed a diagnostic and how many have rushed. So these would be students I would pull to retest to slow down, probably keep them next to me in a small group. And then overall placement is shown using these icons. So mid or above grade level is 39% of my class. They have the slanted green lines. Solid green is early or on grade level, which is 32% of my class. One grade level below, 29%. And then nobody is 2 or 3 plus grade levels below after taking the diagnostic for the March diagnostic. So our second diagnostic of the year. Here's just a small glimpse of what a diagnostic would look like when it's being sent home. This is for my student Charlie. It shows typical growth here across the bar and then stretch growth, which you can read here is the description. But overall, looking here, he is performing at a mid-kindergarten level. His phonological awareness, he's placed at a grade level 1, which is great for kindergarten. His phonics, he's early kindergarten. His high frequency words are early kindergarten. This student is proficient to advanced overall. So that kind of gives you a glimpse at what I was speaking on, how it's not completely accurate as far as the skills that we assess and are aware of for each student. His vocabulary is mid to late kindergarten, as well as his comprehension in both literature and informational text. The fourth digital resource that I want to talk to you about is our Wonders Connect Ed app. Again, if you click on this icon here, it will bring you to the link. But this is in line with our Wonders curriculum. It's an online resource that helps support the language arts curriculum and provides additional digital resources, interactive learning games, and assessment tools aligned with the Common Core state standards. That is, to me, the biggest pro is that it's aligned to our state standards, and that it is also a digital resource for nearly everything we have a hard copy of in the classroom. Every big book, every teacher workshop book, every leveled reader, everything that the curriculum has provided for us, they have also given us a digital resource of that through the Connect Ed portal. There's also additional assignments or games that can be pushed out to iPads for independent practice, or how I've used it in the past when we were distance learning is I've shared it on a screen and we've done whole group activities, which the students are always highly engaged in. And as I said, it's a digital library of all teacher and student resources. So in addition to using this as a tool through distance learning and being able to screen share all of the books, all of the readers, pulling small groups and sharing the leveled readers through the screen, all of those things. It's also a nice resource now that we're in the classroom if I am unable to locate a big book, or if I want to share it on the screen and have students do different activities, or just be able to visually access it better, I can do that through Connect Ed. There are a ton of ELL resources, and it is essentially free because it comes with our curriculum that we've adopted through our district. The cons are that once you begin establishing a Connect Ed profile, it asks you to do a weekly planner, which turns into a monthly, yearly planner. And if you do not mark your non-teaching days or holidays correctly, for example, spring break, fall break, winter break, then it will shift your teaching days. So if you are logging into the app and you're thinking in your mind, I am on Unit 2, Week 1, Day 1, and you forgot to mark days correctly on your calendar, it will not show the Unit 2, Week 1, Day 1. So you'll have to manually adjust it. It's not impossible to access it. However, it requires you to manually adjust where you are if you did not set your calendar correctly, or if lessons took longer, you needed to spend more time in an area or speed up. I just wish that this app completely removed the weekly planner and we could just manually choose what we wanted from the get-go. So it just adds one more workaround that I feel is not necessary. Student logins are difficult. The usernames and passwords are complex, which is challenging for kindergartners. There is the option to do a shape, number, and I believe letter combination for passwords, but again, it's just not as user-friendly as Raz Kids when it comes to student login cards. Once you log into My Connect Ed, you will see a teacher edition and student edition. So obviously you can click on the teacher edition and this pops up. It will show you the unit here, it will show you the week, and then the days here. So as you can see, you can manually change it. However, this is what will pre-populate based on the calendar you have filled out. All the whole group direct instruction components are listed here. So if you need to show the build the background part of the book, the big book, the phonological awareness piece, all of that is here, and it will blow up this part of the screen so students can see that. In class, students have this in a hard paper form to hold in their laps. Weekly printables are here, which are also a match to their workbooks. So we don't necessarily need these when we are in-person learning, but it is a nice resource. And there's games for each week based on the skills. So these are the games that can be pushed out to student iPads, or you can complete these games whole class. So here's an EL game, high frequency word activity game, category words, and a phonics alphabet, which is always included in each lesson. Small group and differentiated instruction is where the leveled readers are, whole group, and then the designated English language instruction. I would always encourage teachers to explore each of these tabs to see all the different resources available. Last but not least is Literably. This is what we use as our online reading assessment tool for grades K through 8 in my district. It assesses students on an A to Z reading level, and it provides feedback based on the student's reading. Readings are recorded for parents and teachers to listen to a playback, and a full running record is provided. Students are leveled based on their fluency, accuracy, word count per minute, and comprehension. We use this tool at the end of kindergarten for our trimester 3 report cards. However, all the other grades use it for each trimester report card. This is the app that I was referencing when I was discussing Raz Kids and how useful Raz Kids is in preparing our kindergartners for the end of the year test because it gets them familiar with the format. It is easy and thorough assessment tool for teachers. It's a variety of both fiction and nonfiction books, which obviously is aligned to our Common Core standards. It gives detailed reports to the teachers. The recordings of the students reading are very useful for parent conferences, so that parents can hear their child reading in real time. It is a district paid for app, so we did not have to go through our PTA to receive a grant. Our district pays for this because it is used as an assessment tool. Some of the cons that we have collectively agreed on as teachers is that the leveled books are not as leveled within each level, if that makes sense. So if I am getting ready to share a level D with a student, I might have 6 choices of level D books. And within those choices, some are far easier than others. So that's where your teacher discretion comes in, and you're able to choose books that you feel would be a fit for your child that you're assessing. However, it doesn't seem to really be a fair or accurate assessment if teachers don't know how to do that or take the time to do that. And also, comprehension questions are tricky. They are worded tricky. They don't necessarily seem to be completely applicable to understanding the text. Teachers have taken some of the literally comprehension quizzes at the end and not passed. So we don't feel that the comprehension questions are a fair overview of their comprehension skills, but we do encourage them to use the tool to go back in the text and find the answers to the questions. This is how it works. This is just a quick shot of what one of the stories would look like. A student would hit start, and then it would turn red and show recording. The student would read the title and each word in the story aloud and hit next page. At the end of the story, they would answer 5 comprehension questions regarding the story, and they have the option to go back to the text to find the answer and then go back to the comprehension questions and answer. Teachers get the results within 24 hours, so you have a detailed scored assessment, which includes the exact transcripts and any student errors. So you can see here, the story says, "Can the duck go?" The student read it as, "Can the bird get?" Every time a student self-corrects, there will be an SC above the word. So we teach students that if they catch themselves reading a word wrong, they can go back and reread it so that they can self-correct, so it will not count against them. Here is an example of what it looks like when a teacher gets a breakdown of the assessment. So for example, student 1 over here, he was assessed on these books. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 choices, 4 of which are nonfiction, and some of these are far easier than the others, all within one rating level. You'll get the word count per minute. The accuracy was 98% for this particular student, and he got 100% on his comprehension questions. It notices a large jump, so it would have me reassess him before going to the next level on a different book. All right, and that is my digital resources analysis of my top 5 digital resources: Raz-Kids, Lexia, iReady, Wonders, and Literably.